Good morning. Crazy news this morning. Pretty sure our son's got chickenpox. Yep. He's not going into nursery. Makes it very difficult for my wife to work. Even, it restricts how much I can work as well, because I can't not provide support where it's needed, if I have to. It's a bit difficult for her at the moment because she's a team of 3 that works at the hospital, and one of them is on maternity leave and the other one is off at the moment. So if she sort of stops, it means there's no one really to kind of take up the slack of her work, and she's got some pretty important stuff coming up this week. Anyway, I remember my daughter got chickenpox a few years ago. She must have been infectious with it before we went on our first sort of abroad family holiday. We went to Spain in 2018, and literally like the day after we got back, she broke out in the spots. We were just very fortunate that we got to enjoy our holiday without a chickenpox child. But anyway, it doesn't last very long. She was very good with it. Hopefully he will be too. Anyway, I'm going to finish my walk, get back to work. I wanted to kind of put together not a studio, but like a better setup for recording these videos. And now that I've actually done it, I'm finding that setting it all up and kind of doing it all isn't quite as fun to me as I thought it was going to be. And Chris, my hair is crazy. Pause for a second and just say I really need a haircut. It's not as bad as the first lockdown when I didn't have a haircut for 6 months. My hair was like down to here, but I could do with like going a lot shorter next time. Anyway, yeah. So I don't feel like these vlogs have been as organic as they could have been. There's nothing more organic about a vlog than taking your phone out of your pocket, holding it, pointing at stuff that you see. It's as simple as that. No one has seemed to have been able to best that, and the quality on a mobile is just brilliant. If I've got an iPhone 11 Pro and I absolutely love it. I have no desire to upgrade to to an iPhone 12 or anything like that. So yeah, I've kind of got, I feel like all the gear and no idea really. I've got a decent camera, I've got a decent microphone, I've got fairly decent lights. I'm quite happy with them. They're not like proper like studio lights or anything like that, but they're what I wanted to do, make them multi-functional. So they're good office lights that are that I can use to light the space, but aren't going to be really like kind of ridiculous and won't have like a really good use for them after after I stop doing these, or I don't want to do these anymore, or I want to take a break or whatever it might be. So yeah, it's a weird one. I don't feel that I'm doing as well vlogging as I was, say, 4 weeks ago. But anyway, maybe that's just because I've been doing it for nearly daily. I think I've only missed 2, which have been weekends, for the last month. I don't know. I'm just having a moment, I guess. Anyway, on another note, currently investigating how to build Gutenberg blocks without basically writing React. I'm not a natural JavaScript person at all, and that's partially because I don't know it that well. I'm a heck of a lot better at it than I was a few years ago, because I have to be, but I'm not looking forward to it at all, and it's something I really, really need to do in order to make both my plugins work better. So I'm just having a look about what I can do here, and it looks like the option might be to write ES6 instead of writing React and then have to build it and all that sort of stuff. And apparently the learning curve for React and WebKit is quite severe, and I don't really have. I guess I have the time to learn, but I don't really have the time that I want to put into it to learn. If that makes sense. There are plenty of other things that I'd rather spend my time on than learning how to do React, even though it's sort of feel like it's necessity. I don't know, maybe that's daft, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm having a look at what else is out there, and this was written, well, nearly 2 years ago now, 2019, doesn't feel like it, but it was nearly 2 years ago. But I'm just trying to get an idea of what's available out there. Plus I was listening to a Delicious Brainwaves podcast this morning, and
on it, they're talking about using Svelte instead of Vue or React. And it just sounds more up my street. I mean, I'm not a great fan of the idea that React is, done by Facebook, and it seems like, I think I'm more of a Vue person than I am a React person. I don't know if that's, I've never tried either of them, but from the ideologies and the way that they come across and all that sort of stuff, it feels like I'm more of a Vue person than a React person. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but I don't know. I just don't feel I can get behind React. It doesn't sit well with me, and I usually listen to my gut, and when that happens, I'm like, I should find another way. And it's a shame actually, because I could use advanced custom field blocks, ACF blocks, which is part of ACF Pro, but then I'd have a dependency of a whole other plugin, and I just can't do that unless it creates a way for you to kind of export the code for that. I'll investigate that, because that might be a much easier way to do it, but we'll see. I've got stuff to look into. I've got a lot of reading to do. I know there's a good course as well that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago as well. Decisions, none of them easy. Having a bit of a fiddle around with my desk. One thing I noticed when I got my desk pad is that my mouse stayed clean. The underneath of it stayed clean for a lot longer, and I keep having to clean it, and I miss my desk pad. I really liked it. So I've had a little fiddle, and I've set my monitor to be portrait again, which I quite like. It hasn't quite got the width that I want, but it is quite good for reading long documents and things, and it does work quite well as a code window. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I've kind of got it that way around, keep something a bit more central, and I'll see how I get on with that. Ping. I think that means the coffee's ready. My daughter has been so into Lego lately, it's been crazy. So anyway, we realised she doesn't have enough of the actual blocks, like 4x2s, 2x2s, that kind of thing. She's got lots and lots of little pieces though. So we have bought her a big box of blocks and like some bases as well, so she can start building up things. She's going to be delighted. She's going to be so happy. I think my wife's going to go collect it this afternoon. Oh, what a morning. Completely mind boggled. Just been working through some really complicated logic. I'm adding and or logic to Content Notify. Previously, if I'm using or logic, it means that if you're looking for something if you're trying to generate an email notification or an email alert, and you want it to match a set of parameters, like I only want to be alerted when a post is updated with a category of, I don't know, finance, but it's also categorized as other things as well. If you're using or logic, you can basically, as soon as it finds a single match, you can send that alert off. But if you're using and logic, you have to do lots of like kind of checks as you're going over everything, iterating over everything, and it's just been a bit mind-boggling. But it really helps. I've found it's really helpful to write things down, because then you can, instead of trying to write it in code form, you're just writing down the problem in its simplest way. Because I don't know about you, but I've been working on computers for so long now, I can't be bothered to write anything down. So I write it down in the most simplest way possible to save me some writing. And I find that that's actually a benefit, because I can say, without writing out all the code by hand, exactly what it is I want to do. And as soon as I read it down, I realized, hang on, I can do this really, really easily. And it's much, much less complicated than I thought it was. And it's some basic checks. And in fact, it doesn't make it more complicated. By adding this level of complexity in, it makes all my code much simpler. It actually makes the whole process faster, like all the code faster. It's crazy. It just comes from writing it down. I'm not expecting you to understand exactly what I'm talking about, because you don't know what I'm kind of doing, but hopefully I'll be able to show you once it's actually all up and working. But it was more the tip that if you're having trouble doing something, write something down, or talk to someone, and then usually you can work it out. I think they call it rubber ducking, where you talk to a rubber duck. have a look. It's on Wikipedia, have a look. Anyway, I'm gonna have lunch now, so yeah. So I bought this for my daughter's room because her lights kind of wake her up. They wake her up in the morning that come on at 6:30. They're kind of too bright. So we bought one of these just basic night lights. It worked just fine, but I just thought I'd show you this. So this is supposedly the sensor that makes it, you know, come on and off. You cover your thumb on it, nothing happens. But the nothing happens because the light can get in, you know, not only does it detect the light this way, but it detects the light coming in down, you know, from the top through this. So if you cover this over and do this, where is it? I got it a minute ago. I was able to replicate it absolutely perfectly. There you go. So like, if you stop the light from being able to come in down into the sensor from the top, then the light comes on. If you do it normally, it doesn't do it. But you have to cover both ways. Oh, not what you'd think. Back from my drive, I collected what looked like 2 tons of Lego, which is brilliant. Daughter's been enjoying that upstairs. I've just come home, had a shower, went to the office, with a bit of a clear head actually. I almost had like an extended lunch, and what with having lunch and then going straight out to collect the thing. And I came back and I just got straight into coding again. And I solved that and/or thing I was working on earlier, which is brilliant. And I've done it in a quite performant way. It should be faster than the current version of the plugin, which is brilliant. So I'm hopefully I'll get to show you that tomorrow. I appreciate that it's all been a bit arbitrary, everything I've talked about today. Anyway, I'm a bit mind boggled. I've made myself a gin and tonic. I know it's Tuesday, and I'm going to sit and chill out. I've got a number of things on my watch later list from YouTube which I'm going to check out. No particular recommendations at the moment for YouTube stuff. I think people have really appreciated some recommendations actually of things that I've done and suggested. But if I think of anything I will let you know. Anyway, I hope you all have a good evening. I will speak to you again tomorrow. So for now, good night.